At a time when the world is focusing on AI, inflation, and geopolitical conflicts, Musk, the Silicon Valley czar, who shuttles between Tesla, Starlink, OpenAI, and Twitter, is investing more and more resources in a seemingly distant but increasingly real goal: Mars. On the other side of the Earth, an uneasy voice is gradually growing. Is this really the future harbor for all mankind? Or is it an escape route reserved for the chosen ones? We'll take you into a plan that's taking shape but rarely discussed publicly. Behind SpaceX's dream of colonizing Mars lies a complex system of real-life rumors. Elite screening, military contracts, information censorship, and a doomsday chess game whose script may have been set long ago. In a private villa under the snow-capped mountains of Davos, there is a banner in the inner conference hall. The Mars project is not about the future, it is about screening. People always say that Musk is a lone hero, a genius madman standing at the forefront of the times. But more and more rumors point to another possibility. He is not a prophet, but an executor. During the 2029 Davos Forum, an unverified recording was posted on the dark web by the non-governmental transparency organization. In the recording, a voice suspected to be a global hedge fund manager said, "Mars is insurance, not a utopia. It is our high-end genetic backup station." These words triggered a new round of discussion on the deep web. A term codenamed Project Eden also surfaced. These are some of the PDF covers that appeared in the WikiLeaks declassified emails, some of which are marked Confidential, Eden Simulation Phase 2. These are some screenshots that appeared on Twitter before they were deleted, showing a collection of tags about SpaceX plus World Economic Forum. The name Project Eden first appeared in an email disclosed by the hacker group Shadow Cell. The recipients included an anonymous World Bank consultant, a former official of the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, and a vice president of SpaceX. The email mentioned that, in extreme situations, it is necessary to ensure that the core population continues their culture, technology, and genetics in an adaptive environment. It also included a blueprint for an adaptive base on Mars, a draft of the AI governance hierarchy, and a short sentence that caused a public outcry. Non-essential population to remain terrestrial. This is not groundless. Since 2025, SpaceX has been repeatedly questioned about its secret partnership with the World Economic Forum, WEF. Although Musk publicly ridiculed the WEF, he sent representatives to participate in closed-topic meetings every year. A former intelligence consultant to the European Space Agency, who wished to remain anonymous, revealed, "Musk is the civilian interface they can accept. He is flamboyant and rebellious, but he never crosses the line. He is executing the plan, not rebelling against it." This is a cost analysis chart for Mars colonization tickets, a SpaceX Starship project expenditure statistics, and an internal speculation document on a privately funded immigration plan. Musk once declared, "Mars immigration should not be a privilege for the rich." But the reality is that if you want to become a candidate for a ticket to Mars, you may need to prepare proof of assets of more than $500,000 and pass a series of non-public screening. In 2024, a leaked internal SpaceX business plan obtained by The Atlantic showed that more than 60% of the first phase of Mars residents would be funded by the following three types of funding: the U.S. Department of Defense and NATO Joint Strategic Security Fund, the Morgan family's Space Heritage Fund, and several biotech companies whose main business is life extension technology, such as Altos Labs and Calico, owned by Google's parent company Alphabet. What do these three have in common? Their ultimate goal is not exploration, but control. Control of data, control of the genes of future generations, control of a new world that can circumvent the laws of Earth. This is a leaked PPT page from the 2024 Bahamas Island Conference titled Off-Earth Tax Strategy, in which SpaceX obtains exemption for space resource mining rights. If you think this is just a plan to escape the disaster, then you may not realize that Mars is also becoming the next tax haven for global capital. In 2025, a document known as the Confidential Draft of Future Asset Allocation was leaked, showing that some top funds are establishing a Mars investment trust structure in the name of interstellar resource development rights. to bypass all judicial supervision on Earth. This is not a fantasy. According to the U.S. Space Act of 2015, U.S. companies can own the resources they collect on extraterrestrial bodies, which provides SpaceX with unprecedented extraterrestrial space. This is the SpaceX financing process chart and the list of participating investment institutions over the years, including the U.S. Department of Defense contract. In 2016, Elon Musk first clearly proposed the goal of Mars migration at the International Astronautical Congress in Mexico and said that humans can buy a ticket to Mars for $300,000. However, 8 years later, this ticket has become more and more like a symbol. You can't buy it just by having money, but you have to be allowed to buy. Some online researchers have found that, judging from SpaceX's financing structure in recent years, a large amount of funds come from the following channels: CIA-backed venture capital fund In-Q-Tel, indirect investment in Starlink; the Safe Asset Allocation Fund, in which the world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater, participates; several investment institutions with close ties to the military-industrial complex, such as Lockheed Investments and Thiel Funds, have formed a system known as the Doomsday Capital Network, a financial escape strategy known by a few as Plan B. Since 2020, an elite asylum plan has been circulating within SpaceX. It is not just about leaving the Earth, but is directly about optimizing the human structure after the Earth's critical point of survival. According to the revelation released by the anonymous account Downlink Dossier on Platform X, formerly Twitter, in 2023, now deleted. Since 2020, SpaceX has participated in 3 closed-door discussions hosted by the World Economic Forum, WEF, with the topic directly addressing human structure optimization after the critical point of Earth's survival. This was not just a discussion on the technical level, but more like a preview of social stratification. Participants discussed the following core issues: how many retained populations will the future society need? Which groups should be selected to enter the first generation of Martian civilization? Should genetic stability be a selection criterion? The rationality of these discussions far exceeds the vision narrative publicly narrated and is closer to a governance issue formed by consensus. As a technical executor, Musk is accused of being the engineering contractor of this future social sandbox experiment. These discussions are more about space real estate at the top of the pyramid. Who owns the land on Mars? In 2015, the United States passed an important bill, the Commercial Space Launch Competition Act, Space Act, one of which clearly states American citizens or companies have the right to retain the resources they collect on extraterrestrial bodies. This bill means that if SpaceX is the first to establish a base on Mars, they will have legal resource sovereignty to mine the red planet. According to NASA's internal engineering documents, SpaceX will complete the deployment of algorithms for exploring resources on the Martian surface by 2026 for site selection and mining simulation. In short, whoever gets there first, whoever digs first, owns it. Even more surprising is that, according to public business registration, a company called Mars Property Holdings LLC has applied to register a Mars Resource Royalties Plan in Nevada, USA. Its board members include Musk's former lawyer, a retired CIA advisor, and an unnamed national security advisor. Who should govern Martian civilization? Perhaps not humans, but AI. In 2023, Musk announced the creation of xAI, with the goal of developing general artificial intelligence that pursues truth. xAI subsequently established a cooperation agreement with SpaceX and Neuralink to carry out the Remote Multi-Cabin Life Decision-Making Collaborative Simulation Test. Many analysts point out that this is the prototype of the future Martian society. AI decision-making and governance, brain-computer interface control of population behavior feedback, information closure, communication encryption, and hierarchical resource allocation. This kind of institutional model is difficult to implement in any country on Earth. But on Mars, there is no constitution, no votes, and no masses. Can you understand the meaning behind this? Who is qualified to live in the next civilization? This is the cover of the World Bank's 2050 Framework Report on the Future of Humanity. It really exists. and the research page of the Harvard International Security Review on the risk-level population evacuation model. In 2018, the World Bank's 2050 Framework Report proposed for the first time a backup strategy for selected populations, recommending that countries establish emergency alternative settlement mechanisms for core populations of basic governance. At the same time, a paper from the Harvard University Center for Security Affairs proposed, when a large-scale survival crisis occurs, professional capabilities, health index, and knowledge heritage value should be used as references to divide the survival priority levels. In other words, once the real big crash comes, not everyone is eligible to participate in the restart. Mars is that restart point, but the tickets have already been distributed. It's just that no one notified you. Have you been selected as one of the staying ones? Shots of ordinary people's daily lives, subway stations, supermarkets, wards, unemployment centers, contrast with the clean world simulated in the Mars cabin. Some chose to leave, some were not chosen, and most people didn't even realize they were being left behind. While we are running around for our mortgage, worrying about our medical insurance, and scanning codes for identity verification again and again, another system has quietly completed its operation, and another society has quietly locked its doors. Mars is not humanity's future home. It may be a huge civilizational choice, and your options have been filled in long before you know it. Do you think the Mars project is progress or judgment? Have you been classified as one of the people who cannot be taken away? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section. Let us hear each other's voices. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share with everyone who has ever believed that technology is neutral. The future is already here, you just haven't been told.